Hello and welcome to another Overwatch video. Sorry if you hear stuff in the background and about to see the camera. So yeah. Like I said, the guy maybe has a bunker that he always waited for one day to be able to use because of the war was going to end, and the war ended up getting it right. We don't have many details about it, but let's keep going. We have more. Going back to the school, what happens in the sequence is that they start to leave, walk through the hallways of the school towards the exit, but they start to hear some noises coming from the principal's office. They kind of run through the corridors, accelerate, out of fear for the situation. When they arrive at a specific point, they're near a fire escape. And there's the point they see something, which is precisely the principal, named Art, who is a walker now. And noticing him approaching, Madison asks if he's okay, because at the moment she didn't know so much information, and the base starts to advance, like putting her at risk. In the end, it turns that the zombie tries to attack Madison, and then Tobias interrupts with his knife, trying to stab the zombie in different ways. But they end up falling down the stairs, rolling, with the point there of Art's zombie in the top of him, almost biting, almost killing him. It's at this moment that Madison takes Tobias, taking the extinguisher and fixing it on the zombie's head. I'm not sure, but maybe this is the first zombie kill of Madison on the show. So in this moment, they manage to escape from there, manage to escape with their lives. But there's a point, right? Here's a mistake situation, or there's something that must be explained later. Because in the scenes, Tobias was treating his card with gained food and many things as a gigantic gem, something precious for him. And then when they see Art Zombie there for the first time, we still have the card there. It's okay, no problem. But what happens is that after they motherfucker. Yeah, sorry about if we start hearing cussing. I'll try and censor myself if needed. Okay, let's keep going. That's the moment when the connection begins for us to understand what happened to the character. At that moment, they leave. He seems to be, at least with the backpack, at least some food is still there. And they take apparently the principal's car. So that's the point. That's the scene where Tobias' story ended. Madison takes Tobias to his house and asks him if he wants to stay with them, survive with them. She even says that he and his family can stay with her for protection, but he doesn't want to. This scene, as last words, Tobias leans against the business and says that she has to take care of her own son. So she says that she will be fine and ask him, and you. He says, I'm going. Yes, I'm going. And so it is the last words, Tobias' last words in the show. At that moment, we see Tobias coming back, like going home, and then it ended, the show ended in season 8. We didn't see Tobias anymore, and the big question remains. He died, he survived. What happened? Did he get home? His parents was okay, or there were some zombies? What happened to them? He survived with his family or alone? And what about the bombing of Los Angeles? It killed him. Because at the end of the first season, we see about the Operation Kobo. That was about bombing some big cities around the country. And one of them was Los Angeles. Yeah, at this point, I told you everything we know about Tobias at the show. And now the video part begins to tell what was confirmed after the show. Exactly after Madison left him there. Yeah, we had an answer to this from the showrunner himself. The guy who wrote and who ruled all the decisions in the story. Dave Erickson was the showrunner for the first 3 seasons of Fear the Walking Dead. Yeah, in some Talking Dead episode, the talk show from The Walking Dead at AMC, Dave Erickson told about Tobias. He said that it is a character that he liked a lot and confirms that Tobias did not die. Tobias stayed alive and even survived the bombings in Los Angeles. It is not known with whom or how, and we have no idea how he managed to get out of Los Angeles before the bombing, which place okay, sorry if we start hearing shit. So the point is that there were several episodes later. There was a lot of story. Fear ended in 2023, and it wasn't even mentioned what happened to this guy. As well as many others from the Fear the Walking Dead, from the main show, The Walking Dead, from other shows, other spin-offs. But keeping the focus on this, of Tobias, which the story is very early, at the very beginning of the outbreak, like 12 or 30 years back in the story, he stayed alive there. And knowing this, as much as he had a weaker physique, he could still have evolved. For example, if we take a current situation of the Walking Dead universe, we can make some theories about him appearing in the future. Some new spin-off, something, basically in Tales of the Walking Dead. We know that it's confirmed that more tales from The Walking Dead, like the second season from this show, will be produced in the future, and they say that it probably will be about some characters that we know. Like Tales first season was about some characters we didn't know. We only knew Alpha from episode 3, and the second season will probably be produced mostly about some characters that we know. They can do some episode about Tobias, what happened to him after that. Like considering that in the story, Tobias at this time of the first season, when the apocalypse began, he was around 16 years old. If we talk about the end of Fear the Walking Dead, the last season, that has a little more than 11 years from the outbreak, considering the time jumps and more, this means that at this moment, Tobias will be around 27 years old. So for all facts, he's still alive in the story. There's no place that points to his death. In this episode, they can use the same actor because he grew up. They can tell how he evolved as a survivor in the reference to the stories of Fear the Walking Dead.
And I
Sometimes
died.
he can even visualize Madison's group from afar. He almost decided to go back to her, but he didn't. Or they can even show how he died along the way in this episode. These are my ideas. Go put in the comments what is yours. What do you think about it? What do you think about Tobias? Do you think he's still alive in the story of The Walking Dead? Don't forget to check the like. It helps me a lot in the promotion of the video. Thank you for your patience with my English because it's not my native language, but I'm trying to practice more and more. Be sure to subscribe to the channel because I will keep doing more contents about the Walking Dead universe, and I'll be back soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.
You cannot depend on Oliver's parallel parking. And you cannot depend on Jane to keep it all together all the time. Just like you can't depend on Charlie to pack larger items appropriately. But you can depend on their car starting because they have interstate batteries. Interstate batteries, outrageously dependable.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder's directorial debut being the 2004 remake of The crew cannot survive long-term at the mall. They can, however, last quite some time at that location. And that matters when it comes to answering this very question. In my video about Negan's ethics as the leader of the Saviors, I lit the man on fire. Savior Negan was just wrong in so many ways that I'd rather not repeat myself here and needlessly inflate the length of this video with a red herring. But Negan was right about one thing. People are a resource, albeit not one you should ever exploit. But nonetheless, people are a resource to cooperate with, and given the Alright folks, today I'm going to be covering another example of dark environmental storytelling in the Walking Dead universe. In this video, I'm going to be taking you through the Muni at Pine Vista Country Club. If you've seen my other two videos on this type of subject matter, then you should know the drill by now. But if not, environmental storytelling is something that has been used in the Walking Dead since
Sorry about that. I had to do something.
Objects or bodies will be laid out in a way that conveys the story to the viewer without explicitly stating what that story is. I'm going to structure this video by taking you through the story as it was first presented to us before going back and piecing together the evidence to figure out what happened here. If you're enjoying this type of content, be sure to hit that like button and drop a sub to see more videos like this. Following the governor's attack on the prison and the execution of Herschel Green,
Our group was scattered into the wasteland and forced to survive on the road. An unlikely duo in Daryl and Beth found themselves together but alone in the woods. After witnessing her father's death, Beth would be going through the grieving process, which at the time, Daryl didn't really know how to handle, dealing with his own demons. But one thing he could help her with was finding something to drink.
What?
Her
I
father
know we
was
caught the end
struggling
of
with
it.
alcoholism in his life, and by the time Beth was born, he had quit for years, never even allowing alcohol in the house. So with nothing left and nowhere to go, she decided she was going to find herself something to drink no matter the cost. And what better place to look than Pine Vista Country Club, an abandoned golf lodge that was once the go-to place for many wealthy folks pre-apocalypse. Here, Georgians could of course play golf, drink, and converse with their fellow members. At the time, it was luxury. A body lies on the front steps, implying someone must have met their end either trying to get in or get out. The front door is locked, so the two are forced to get in through the side. The club itself, following the outbreak, appears to have been occupied as a refugee camp, as we can see makeshift rooms and sleeping bags scattered on the floor. But this clearly did not last long, as gruesomely in the corner hangs the bodies of the club's former members and presumably owners, accompanied by a pile of mutilated bodies on the floor, long dead. We can assume these are the club's
I'm
former
on an A.
members, as we see the bodies wearing high-end
I'm on an
fashion
A.
and jewelry normally associated with wealth, such as
Sick.
pearls. It's clear something horrific happened inside these walls, but our duo are forced to descend
Atlan.
deeper into the club.
There's so many
and
ways
Beth
to
begins
say it.
banging on the door behind
Like
them.
hello and
Moving from room to room,
Arabic.
the entire building appears to be completely ransacked. Trash bags and empty cans lie everywhere, implying to me the naive club members did not ration their food, most likely attempting to continue their lavish lifestyles, leaving nothing but scraps for whoever did this to them. And even worse, they polished off all the liquor. In a world like this, one would assume the club was simply attacked by plunderers. But in a neighboring room, Beth discovers another pile of bodies with a haunting phrase written on the wall in their blood. This implies the massacre was actually an act of revenge against the wealthy. This is reinforced as the two discover the upper body of a woman with her eyes gouged out, lying on top of a mannequin torso with a sign nailed to her chest reading "Rich Bitch." This was just overboard. Someone made her and all the other club members suffer, and took pride in it. This definitely wasn't your ordinary raid. In the bar section of the club, we can see half-empty glasses accompanied by more bodies on the floor, implying whatever happened suddenly and fast. Almost like whoever did this was already a part of their group, and was close enough to blindside them. Beth would find the drink she was searching for, the last bottle of liquor in the entire club, peach schnapps, but would be overcome with emotion. Although Daryl was in a dark spot himself, he could see how much she was hurting, not only from her father's death, but the horrors of the world she was stuck in. This whole experience just confirmed to Daryl there was no hope. But that being said, he still had someone relying on him. So in an act of empathy, Daryl would smash the bottle, as he wasn't going to let her first drink be something as shitty as peach schnapps. So the two would continue on with their mission, leaving the horrors of Pine Vista Country Club behind. So now that the scene has been laid out, I'm going to take you through my interpretation of the story, with a little assistance. You see, Talking Dead, The Walking Dead's after show, revealed the story of Pine Vista actually revolved around a mutiny, with the staff turning against the rich members in a type of class warfare. I cannot, for the life of me, find this clip, but there's plenty of instances of people and websites recounting this if you look for it, so you'll just have to trust me on this one. But with all the evidence gathered, let's go back to the beginning and piece together what happened here. Following the outbreak, the wealthy members of Pine Vista Country city to be a temporary safe house. The rich had gone there for luxury pre-apocalypse, so naively, they may have assumed they would continue to be granted that luxury by the staff after the death rose. The wealthy club members would prove some people don't change, as they would expect the staff who only came there for safe haven to tend to them regardless of the state of the world, progressively treating them worse and worse over time. Although free from large hordes, walkers still roam the grounds, probably due to the irresponsibility of the members leading them there. The club itself at the time was considered safe, but some staff members wouldn't be able to handle the constant belligerence of the members, and would attempt to leave, unfortunately getting bit in the process. Judging by that body outside the door, I'd assume this staff member would have begged to be let in to no avail, as the club members would deny them re-entry after leaving. The staff were outnumbered and seen as low status, so they would have no say in the decisions being made, regardless of how detrimental it could be to their survival. They were simply the club's servants in the eyes of the wealthy. With nowhere else to go and the social pressure put onto them, they would do their best to keep the members fed and safe. But this was for nothing, as the wealthy would gradually become more demanding and greedy over time. The club's food supplies would be quickly drained as the members would not listen to the staff's pleas to ration, and before long, there would be next to nothing left. Trash would pile up as nobody could leave the building, so resentment on both sides would exponentially grow. The club members would turn to liquor to cope with their situation, but unknowingly to them, the staff were done with the bullshit. They were treated like dogs by the members and were never thanked once. The harder they worked to keep the peace, the worse they were treated. The little food they were given by the members was now nothing but crumbs. If they continued with this way of life, they were going to starve due to the irresponsibility of others. And we all know everyone has a breaking point. So the staff would form a mutiny. While the members drank away their sorrows, they would strike, shooting the wealthy that would be able to oppose them physically first, leaving the remaining defenseless club members to